Greetings and welcome. How are we all feeling at the moment? Today's topic is on excuses, and we love it. Not really, but when people make excuses, we get annoyed because we had a certain expectation. If you ask someone to go have a coffee with you and they say, oh no, I don't feel well, then it kind of offends you. But what happens when you start making excuses for yourself? When you are the reason that you are not taking those action steps, that you are not moving forward? Because excuses are dangerous. And it stops us from healing, it stops us from growing, and it stops us from evolving. And if you just make excuses, you end up procrastinating on it. And yes, the most difficult part of a task is the first 15 to 20 minutes of getting it started. But if you keep making excuses for not doing something that you need to do, then you are just creating this false idea that you are unable, you have the inability. It's always something external that we use for an excuse, but it's never an internal thing. And we make excuses to get out of things. We make excuses to not do things. We make excuses to not want to grow and develop. And it's very, very harmful, and it can do a lot of bad things to your life because you won't be as functional, as motivated, as goal-driven, as problem-solving focused. And the thing is, when we make excuses, we end up making justifications why it's okay that we're making up this excuse. I know other people do it. I know I've done it before and nothing happened. But the moment you start justifying it and validating it, you reinforce it until making excuses just becomes a natural process. And we all do it sometimes. We do make excuses, but if it's hindering you and it's harming you, and you are creating these justifications on why you think it's okay to not do something or to not break through a barrier. And it's these justifications in our minds that we accept as true and okay, that has been processed through our mental filtering and our value system. So at the end of the day, it just becomes a normalized thing that we just justify every excuse that we make, saying, yeah, it's a relevant excuse. Yeah, but I didn't feel like it. But a justification is not a reason to make an excuse, because excuses are damaging and they can really, really hold you back in life. And the thing is, when we create so many excuses, we start to limit ourselves. If you want to start running and every morning you make an excuse, oh, my back is sore, oh, it's really early, I wasn't feeling well, I went to bed late last night, and then you put that through your justification system, and that's when it becomes a barrier, a limitation, a block, a challenge, because you create those justifications in your mind, and that eventually will block you from achieving things, from moving forward, from healing even. We can't make up excuses as to why our mental health is suffering, because at the end of the day, we are the ones who have to self-manage, emotionally regulate, and cognitively manage our thoughts and our thinking. And we really do stop ourselves from achieving the things that we want to, the desire that we have. And limitations come from justification. things. And that's where your excuses come from. And when you make excuses, you have this room full of, I can't, I don't want to, but it's like this justification. And because of that, your mind is so blocked up by these things that it actually reduces your space to grow. You cannot grow if you are in your comfort zone, and you cannot grow if you are making excuses to stay in that comfort zone. And that's what keeps you stagnant. That's what keeps you unfulfilled. And also, when we make excuses, we have the inability to take accountability. We do not take responsibility for ourselves, our actions, our responses, and things like that. We have no sense of why it's important that we need to own up to the things that have happened, that we were vulnerable, that maybe we didn't make the right choice. And if you can't take accountability, you can't grow in maturity. And as I said, we remain stagnant through our excuses. We can't move forward. We're stuck in the same place, because when you make an excuse, you tell yourself it's okay to not take action. And if you don't take action, you're not going to grow past your current state. You're going to stay stuck there. And that is a really difficult place to be. And it's even possible to develop depression at that time as well. And remember, excuses are disempowering. We don't take responsibility. We don't take initiative. We don't operate out of our own autonomy. We are completely disempowered and not able to achieve. And it's really, really, really frustrating when you make all of these excuses and you want to aim for something, but when the time comes, you just feel like you can't put in those action steps. But you have to, because excuses are what disempowers you, that takes that ability away from you to do something. And excuses can affect relationships. If you make excuses for not meeting up for coffee, for not bonding, and the other person on the other end will see you as actually very unreliable, and it will kind of feel to them that you don't prioritize that connection. So if you make excuses not to change in a relationship, then it can be very, very difficult to strengthen that bond and also to improve communication. And when we make excuses, it makes the goal more daunting, especially because we attach the aspect of overthinking as well. And this is what creates procrastination, is the inability to get started, the fear of taking on a task. And that can be incredibly stressful, and that's why we procrastinate. That's why we leave it until it creates so much stress that we end up completely distressed. So the goal becomes a lot more overwhelming when you make excuses, because you sort of get into your own mind and you convince yourself that it's not a possibility. And it is a possibility. Your brain is amazing. Your mind can do amazing things. Stop limiting yourself. And the opposite of excuses is acceptance, acknowledgement, taking responsibility, accountability. And that's how you take initiative. And also remember that excuses are self-sabotaging. You stop yourself from receiving new opportunities. you get in your own way, you become your own worst enemy, you struggle in your inner relationship, and all the excuses that you made, you eventually believe are true justifications of why you don't want to put in action, why you don't want to test your abilities. And self-sabotage can lead to self-destruction, and we destruct ourselves through our excuses. And self-sabotage is really, really dangerous, and it can make you feel like everyone is out to get you and that you can't relate to yourself. So remember, justifications, excuses, validations are just going to put you in a place where you can't move forward. So remember, you are unique and valuable. Take care of that stunning person. Stay strong wherever you're from. You are worthy.